Okay, today we're going to look at dividing by multiples of 10. And when we divide by multiples of 10, it's a little bit trickier because now we're dividing by two-digit numbers, but we're actually going to be doing the same steps. So if you recall, in long division, we divide first, then we multiply, then we subtract, and then we bring a number down, right? So here we have 95 divided by 40. And because we're dealing with bigger numbers, it's a little bit hard sometimes to think, okay, how many 40s go into 95? And so what the book is going to teach you in this lesson is to say, think about the first digits only. Let's think about 9 divided by 4. That's a lot easier to do in your head. Okay, now I can see there are two 4s that fit into the 9, right? So in the same way, you can think of there being two 40s that fit into 95. So let's use 2 as our number up here. And one of the keys here is to know where to write that number 2. Since we're actually dividing 95 by 40, we're going to write the 2 over the 5 and not over the 9. If we were dividing 9 by 40, or say by 4 like in this case, then we'd write the 2 above the 9. But because it's 95 that we're dividing by 40, the 2 goes over the 5 instead. So now we're going to still follow the same exact pattern as before. So we've done the dividing step. Now we're going to multiply. 2 times 40 is 80. And then we do the subtraction step. We get 15. And that's the end. Unless you are expected to write it as a decimal, then you might put a decimal number here and add zeros on the end and keep going. But for here, we've just got a remainder of 15. So we'll put our R in our 15, and the answer 9 to 95 divided by 40 is 2 with a remainder of 15. Okay, let's look at these examples. 516 divided by 30. So again, let's do the same thing here where since we're dividing by a multiple of 10, we can think of this as 5 divided by 3. And there is 1 3 in 5. Okay, so we're going to put a 1 up here, but do we put it above the 5 or above the 1? Well, again, in this case, what we're actually dividing is 51 divided by 30. So we're going to put the 1 above the 1 here, not above the 5. Now we multiply. 30 times 1 is 30. We subtract and get 21. We bring down the 6, and now we've got to do the same 4 steps again. So in this case, 216 divided by 30, that's a little difficult to do in your head. So again, think of this like 21 divided by 3. Okay, we're taking the tens. There's 21 tens here, 3 tens here. 21 divided by 3 is 7. So let's try a 7 here. And since we're dividing actually 216 divided by 30, that 7 goes above the 6 here. So we'll put a 7 here. Now we're on the multiply step. So we do 7 times 30, which is 210. Now we're on the subtraction step, and we get 6. And that's the end here. This is going to be our remainder. So the answer is 17 with a remainder of 6. And let's practice checking our work. So in order to check this problem, we would multiply the 30 times the 17, add the 6, and we should get back to 516. So let's do that. 30 times 17. We can actually leave, since this is a multiple of 10, we can leave that 0 hanging out, right? So 17 times 3 with the extra 0 here. 7 times 3 is 21. 1 times 3 is 3, plus that extra 2 is 5. So you can see we get back to 510, and then we've got to add our remainder, and that gives us 516. So that means our answer checks because we got back to this number here. Let's do one more problem. $5.40 divided by 20. Since we have a decimal point in the dividend, what we do is we actually take that decimal point and we go straight up with it and put it in the quotient right there. And then we can just think of this as 540 divided by 20 with our decimal point there. So let's do the same thing. We've got 54. We can't do 5 divided by 20, right? So we're going to do 54 divided by 20. We're going to think of this the same way where we have the 5 divided by the 2, right? We have the 5 and the 2. We can fit 2 2's inside 5. So we're going to go ahead and put a 2 up here. Now what we're really doing is 54 divided by 20. So the 2 is actually going to go here above the 4 and the 54. Now we multiply. 2 times 20 is 40. We subtract, we get 14. Bring down the 0, and we have 140 divided by 20. You could think of this like 14 divided by 2, which is 7. Now we multiply. 7 times 20 is 140. And when we subtract, we get a remainder of 0. So we'll bring our dollar sign up also. And typically we do write a 0 here for the dollars. So the answer to this one is 27 cents. So the key there again is just making sure you take that decimal point in the dividend and move it straight up to the quotient. I've seen a lot of times where my own kids will forget to put that decimal point up there, and then they put the answer 27 in. and the actual answer is 27 cents or 27 hundredths. In this case, it's a decimal. So that's it for today.